Welcome back. Today I'm going to talk about Babylon. In the Bible, Babylon was a military empire defeated by the Persian army. But the book of Revelation makes a reference about a future Babylon, which is the topic of this video. In the book of Revelation, Babylon is a different kingdom than the kingdom of the Antichrist. The fall of Babylon is before the defeat of the Antichrist army. This is clear in the following verses. American Standard Version, Book of Revelation, chapter 14, verse 8. And another, a second angel followed, saying, Fallen, fallen is Babylon the Great, that has made all the nations to drink of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. Verse 9. And another angel, a third, followed them, saying with a great voice, If any man worships the beast and his image, and receives a mark on his forehead or upon his hand, verse 10, he also shall drink of the wine of the wrath of God, which is prepared and mixed in the cup of his anger. And he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. It is interesting that in Revelation chapter 16, a loud voice from the temple commands the seven angels to pour the seven bowls of God's anger on earth. When pouring the first bowl, the people who has the mark of the beast got painful sores, but there is no reference to any relationship between the mark of the beast and Babylon. Book of Revelation, chapter 16, verse 2. And the first went and poured out his bowl into the earth, and it became a noisome and grievous sore upon the men that had the mark of the beast and that worshipped his image. But it's the fifth bowl that is poured out on the throne of the beast, and Babylon is not mentioned as such. American Standard Version, Book of Revelation, chapter 16, verse 10. And the fifth poured out his bowl upon the throne of the beast, and his kingdom was darkened, and they gnawed their tongues for pain. Verse 11. And they blasphemed the God of heaven because of their pains and their sores, and they repented not of their works. The throne of the beast is the throne of Satan, and the throne of Satan is in Rome. American Standard Version, Book of Revelation, chapter 13, verse 2. And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him his power and his strong and great authority. This proves that Rome is not Babylon. Rome is in darkness, but Babylon is destroyed by fire. American Standard Version, Book of Revelation, chapter 17, verse 16. And the 10 horns with 2 souls and the beast, these shall hate the harlot, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh, and shall burn her utterly with fire. Finally, in the 6th bowl, the armies prepare for Armageddon. This is the final word, and there is no mention of Babylon. This means that the destruction of Babylon is before the 7 bowls. This agrees with Revelation 14, verse 8 to 10. But first, let's see Revelation chapter 16. I'm reading from the American Standard Version, verse 12. And the 6th poured out his bowl upon the great river, the river Euphrates, and the water thereof was dried up, that the way might be made ready for the kings that come from the sun rising, meaning east. Verse 16. And they gathered them together into the place which is called in Hebrew Armageddon. So what is the point? The point is that humanity is going to deal with 2 different problems. 1, war by satanic forces, and 2, economic inequality, poverty by humans, represented by Babylon. This agrees with the interpretation of the red horse of the second seal as war and its rider as Satan. Now I can say that the black horse represents poverty and its rider is Babylon. We will see that Babylon is a group of people that enrich themselves by a combination of trading and wickedness. Now it starts to be clear why the beasts attack Babylon, because they are not the same entity. American Standard Version, Book of Revelation, chapter 17, verse 16. And the 10 horns which thou sawest, and beasts, these shall hate the harlot, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh, and shall burn her utterly with fire. Now, let's see how much we can learn about Babylon. Babylon is a city. Let's see this American Standard Version, Book of Revelation, chapter 17, verse 18. And the woman whom thou sawest is the great city, which reigns over the kings of the earth. It's a city in which the kings or leaders of the world literally commit adultery and produce pornography for the whole world. Or it's a city where the new idolatry will happen. Love of money, love of pleasure, artists, love for the artists such as singers, actors, painters. The list can go on and on. American Standard Version, Book of Revelation, chapter 17, verse 2. With whom the kings of the earth committed fornication, and they that dwelt on the earth were made drunken with the wine of her fornication. Babylon will have control over many people. American Standard Version, Book of Revelation, chapter 17, verse 15. And he says unto me, the waters which thou sawest, where the harlot cities, are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues. When Babylon sits on waters is an analogy of someone sitting on a horse, and therefore having control of the animal. Babylon will have control over the leaders of the world. American Standard Version, Book of Revelation, chapter 17, verse 18. And the woman whom thou sawest is the great city, which reigneth over the kings of the earth. Babylon seems to be a seaport. Rome is not a seaport. American Standard Version, Book of Revelation, chapter 18, verse 16, saying, Woe, woe, the great city, she that was arrayed in fine linen and purple and scarlet, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearl. 17, for in 1 hour so great riches is made desolate, and every shipmaster and every one that saileth by any whither, any mariners, mean sailors, and as many as gained their living by sea, stood afar off. Verse 18, and cried out as they look upon the smoke of their burning, say, What city is like the great city? 19, and they cast dust in their heads, and cry, weeping and mourning, saying, Woe, woe, the great city, wherein all that had their ships in the sea were made rich by reason of her costliness. For in 1 hour is she made desolate. Babylon is going to be a rich city. American Standard Version, Book of Revelation, chapter 17, verse 4. And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having in her hand a golden cup full of abomination, even the unclean things of her fornication. Babylon is going to be a World Trade Center. American Standard Version, Book of Revelation, chapter 18, verse 11. And the merchants of the earth weep and mourn over her, for no man buys their merchandise anymore. Verse 12. Merchandise of gold and silver and precious stones and pearls and fine linen and purple and silk and scarlet and tine wood and every vessel of ivory and every vessel made of most precious wood and of brass and iron and marble and cinnamon and spice and incense and ointment and frankincense and wine and oil and fine flour and wheat and cattle and sheep and merchandise of horses and chariots and slaves and souls of men. This is a surprise because I hear many times that Babylon is going to be a world spiritual center where idolatry is the main topic. What I mean is this: a place of worship of the saints, of Mary, of Buddha, of Krishna, or any other false god. So the city might be full of spiritism, paganism, shamans. You got the idea. But it may be that idolatry is just a way to get money. So when describing Babylon as a harlot, it literally means a place of pornography, adultery, fornication, and prostitution. There is nothing wrong with trading or commerce, but the problem with Babylon is that trading is combined with wickedness. Let's see the scripture. American Standard Version, Book of Zechariah, chapter 5, verse 5. Then the angel that talks with me went forth and said unto me, Lift up now thine eyes and see what is that goes forth. Verse 6. And I said, What is it? And he said, This is the ephah that goes forth. Ephah can be translated as basket. He says, Moreover, this is their appearance in all their land. Verse 7. And behold, there was lifted up a talent of lead, and this is a woman sitting in the midst of the ephah. Verse 8. And he said, This is wickedness. And he cast her down into the midst of the ephah, and he cast the weight of lead upon the mouth thereof. Then lifted up my eyes and saw, and behold, there come forth two women, and the wind was in their wings. Now they had wings like the wings of a stork, and they lifted up the ephah between earth and heaven. Verse 10. Then say I to the angel that talked with me, Whither do these bear the ephah? And he said unto me, To build her a house in the land of Shinar. And when it is prepared, she shall be set there in her own place. Here ephah can be translated as bucket, and land of Shinar as Babylon, meaning wickedness goes to Babylon as a woman. Here is the problem with Babylon, that worship wickedness represented as a woman. Part of wickedness is murdering, and that is what it means to be partially dressed in red. American Standard Version, Book of Revelation, chapter 17, verse 4. And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having in her hand a golden cup full of abomination, even the unclean things of her fornication. What is this passage talking about is mass murdering, as we can see on the following verses. American Standard Version, Book of Revelation, chapter 18, verse 24. And in her was found the blood of prophets and of saints and of all that have been slain upon the earth. The book of Revelation presents Babylon as an economic power, not a military one. Therefore, these murderings have an economic reason. Murdering to get financial gains, to keep a favorable financial status quo. I don't know. The Apostle Paul was right about money. American Standard Version, 1 Timothy chapter 6, verse 10. For the love of money is a root of all kinds of evil, which some reaching after have been led astray from the faith, and have pierced themselves through with many sorrows. When money is a way of idolatry, people is willing to lie, to kill, to steal, and other wickedness. Jesus really clarified the topic. American Standard Version, the book of Matthew, chapter 6, verse 24. No man can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or else he will hold to one and despise the other. Ye cannot have served God or mammon. Here mammon means money. People of God is going to be living there, people who know the Bible and live a Christian life. American Standard Version, Book of Revelation, chapter 18, verse 4. And I hear another voice from heaven saying, Come forth, my people, out of her, that ye have no fellowship with her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues. Verse 5. For her sins have reached even unto heaven, and God has remembered her iniquities. Babylon is going to kill the people of God. American Standard Version, Book of Revelation, chapter 18, verse 24. And in her was found the blood of prophets and of saints, and of all that have been slain upon the earth. Babylon is going to have one or many skyscrapers. Originally, the idea of building a tower to reach the skies is the first attempt to reach outer space. Also, many languages are going to be spoken there. American Standard Version, Book of Genesis, chapter 11, verse 4. And they say, Come, let us build us a city and a tower, whose top may reach unto heaven, and let us make us a name, lest we be scattered abroad upon the face of the whole earth. Verse 5. And Jehovah came down to see the city and the tower which the children of men built. Verse 6, and Jehovah said, behold, they are one people, and they have all one language. And this is what they begin to do. And now nothing will be withholden from them which they purpose to do. Verse 7, come, let us go down and there confound their languages, that they may not understand one another's speech. Verse 8, so Jehovah scattered them abroad from thence upon the face of all the earth, and they left off building of the city. Verse 9, therefore was the name of it called Babel, because Jehovah did there confound the language of all the earth, and from thence did Jehovah scatter them abroad upon the face of all the earth. The idea of Babylon's desire and capability of reaching space is obvious. Not many cities can boast to have the technology and economic power to reach space. This narrows down identifying Babylon. American Standard Version, Book of Jeremiah, chapter 51, verse 53. So Babylon should mount up to heaven, and so she should fortify the height of her strength. Yet from me shall the destroyer come unto her, says Jehovah. American Standard Version, Book of Isaiah, chapter 14. The next is about the king of Babylon. Verse 12. Who are to fallen from heaven, O they stars, son of the morning? Who are to cut down to the ground, that this laid low the nations? Verse 13. And two says in thy heart, speaking about the king of Babylon, I will ascend into heaven, I will exalt my throne above the stars of God, and will sit upon the mount of the congregation in the uttermost parts of the north. Translated to up-to-date knowledge is, rich people desire to live in a space station, the moon, Mars, you got the idea. Also, Babel was being built not to glorify God's name or worship the devil, but to put men on high regard. This clarifies the reason the Antichrist attacked Babylon. So what is the idea of Babylon as a woman being dressed in purple and red? Red means murder. Purple means royalty. But being dressed in purple means that the king or queen is not in his or her kingdom. Jesus gave us the clue. He is a king, but Judea is not his kingdom. Then he is dressed in purple. American Standard Version, Book of John, chapter 18, verse 33. Pilate therefore entered again into the praetorium, and called Jesus, and said unto him, Art thou the king of the Jews? Verse 36. Jesus answered, My kingdom is not of this world. Is my kingdom were of this world, then will my servants fight, that I should not be delivered to the Jews. But now is my kingdom not from hence. 37. Pilate therefore said unto him, Art thou a king then? American Standard Version, Book of Mark 15, chapter 15, verse 16. And the soldiers led him away within the court, which is the praetorium, and they called together the whole band. Verse 17. And they clothed him with purple, and plaiting a crown of thorns, they put it on him. So kings and queens are going to be in Babylon, but they don't reign in Babylon. The question is, where did this royalty come from? The answer is in the 10 horns. First we read the 10 horns with crowns, and then without them. American Standard Version, Book of Revelation, chapter 13, verse 1. And he stood upon the sand of the sea, and I saw a beast coming up out of the sea, having 10 horns and 7 heads, and on his horns 10 diadems, or crowns, and upon his heads names of blasphemy. This means that 10 European countries will be under royalty. American Standard Version, Book of Revelation, chapter 17, verse 3. And he carried me away in the spirit into a wilderness, and I saw a woman sitting upon a scarlet-colored beast, full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. Here, the 10 horns are mentioned without the crowns. So where did the European royalty go? The purple dress means that the European royalty is in Babylon, and Babylon is not their kingdom. Now we see the beast's scheme. By attacking Babylon and killing the European royalty, the beast or the Antichrist inherit the 10 European countries. Thank you and see you for the next.